Okay, here's where we left off. We got our carburetor here. It's a Bendix Zenith carburetor, probably about the simplest carburetor you could ever see. Obviously, air cleaner side, intake side. Super simple operation, choke, okay, on, halfway off, fully off. Accelerator pump, throttle's right here. You see the action right there. This thing works. Looks like someone's been inside it already. I can tell by a lot of the Allens have been changed out to this black one, so I think someone's been inside this already. Here's our idle adjustment. The cool thing about these Zenith Bendix carburetors, from what I remember, is this right here is an adjustable main jet. So, you know, typically on carburetors, Johnny, we're going to change out the jets. We're going to run the take off the bowl, usually change out the jets from the inside on like S&S or CVs. The cool thing about this carburetor is this, if I remember here, this is your adjustable main jet. So you can loosen it up like this from my memory. Should be how it works. Yep, yeah, loosen it up, richen it up, tighten it up, lean it out. So say for example, we needed more fuel. Say we were running up to Reno, Nevada to see the one and only Dr. Dan Barlow, and we need a little fuel as we get up in the elevation of riding from here at what are we at, sea level here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're sea level, riding up to say 3,000, I think Taos 3,000-4,000 up. We wouldn't want to richen it up. We could just turn it right there on the fly. So that's the way I think Zenith Bendix carburetors work. Here's your air fuel mixture right here, and I'm pretty sure from my memory, again, I think it's 1.5 turns out is the stock position. But let's open up the bowl here. We're going to open up this bowl. We're going to take this bowl off. We're going to be able to get to the jets from here. It goes all the way through. That's in a main jet. So that jet comes in and out of it, and that's how you adjust it to richen it up or lean it out. So normally these have a 9/16 right here you can get to. Now this one has this on it. I've never seen that. I don't know if that's something he added or if it's a modification. I have no idea. You could tell by the little set screws. That's too big.
Is this where the cash is hidden?
Yeah, right. So we're going to open this up, and it's going to be little pieces of gold inside there. I don't know why he's got this little collar on here.
Oh my god.
That's our dollar.
Oh no, is this metric? What?
What size is it?
It can't be 9/16.
Why can't it be?
Because it's not.
What is it, a metric?
Yeah.
That's it.
What is that, 14? 14 millimeter? I'm not crazy, I'm stupid.
No. Okay, so should we try to put a open end on it, or should we try to just...
Open end, 14.
14?
I have confidence. If not, I'll just turn down a socket so that it can fit past this.
We may just have to turn down a socket, really thin wall.
That's not went wrong.
Nothing better than watching a video of people looking for wrenches. Here, 14, go.
Yeah, that's almost perfect except for the clearance.
Yeah?
Yeah, I don't want to strip that.
No, don't.
So we can either grind down that side or turn down a socket. Oh.
Nope.
So let's get the short version of this socket and just turn it down.
Turn it down really small.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Why
Oh
don't you
yeah.
have a normal
Nothing's normal on this bike, Dad.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Right.
I'm turning down the socket so it can fit past this weird bulky, I don't even know what this is, like a weird collar thing, so it can get past there into that little gap and get this bowl off.
So me and my dad never really work with these Zenith Bendix carburetors, so rebuilding this one was kind of a learning experience. We put it on the bike and it never really worked properly, and eventually it started pouring gas out of that sketchy little drain plug on the bottom. So we switched it over to a S&S Super E carburetor, and it's worked so much better ever since. It's just way less problematic. if you guys are interested in a video that has a detailed explanation as to how to rebuild one of these carburetors, I'm willing to upload that, but for now, you're just going to get the shortened version because we ended up switching the carburetor anyways, so just enjoy this time lapse.
Alright guys, here's the finished product. It's looking nice. Alright.
Okay, so the throttle standoff is going to go on the top. This is the bottom stud. So I need you to bring this one through. I keep getting jabbed with the
Oh, the open cable.
open cable. Yeah, can you put that one in the bottom?
I want like a humorously long extension. It's okay. I just wanted a humorously long extension. Here, just put it on the extension. Just put it on the extension. Nobody tells you how useful these are.
Come all the way through. Come on in.
Yes.
Go. Should be like easy, like hand turning.
Yeah. There it is.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now. Oh, you're good. Now do the top one. Put the top one in. Choke cable did not pop out.
Need my correctly sized and totally proportional extension.
Let me catch up here. This is the 1973, what are we calling it? The Survivor Chopper, the Barn Find, or AKA Garage Find, because we found it in the garage. So let me update you what we're doing here. This was the original, this was a little box that we had found on the side of the bike here, which Johnny and I opened up, and we thought we were going to find rolls of cash or all the electronics or something actually good. And instead, when we opened it up, we found nothing. There was nothing inside. So what I've done now is I've actually gone ahead and I've cut the top off. This was the original top right here, obviously with the blue tape on it. I cut the top off of it so we can get a battery in there. And I went ahead and I added our little circuit breakers in there. We got a 30 amp right there on the left, and then the 15 amp on the right, which we're going to be run the main's obviously going to be the 30 amp, and the 15 amp is going to be for the headlights and things. And I found a tiny red topped to match the color of the bike lithium battery. Now this little battery here is going to pack probably as much power as a much larger battery, like this one over here. Not quite as powerful as the Harley one, but it's going to be enough just to run the lights. Again, we don't have electric start. It's a kick only bike, so we just want to keep the lights running and the tail light. And this drops in right here. You can see that drops in, and then we got our we got some rubber spacers on either side, so it's not going to vibrate around. And if you look in here, it's going to come out real nice the way it lines up. We got our circuit breakers there. All of our wiring is going to be there. That's going to sit in the bike. This door is going to shut nice and easy. And then on the bottom, I went ahead and drilled a hole. As you can see right here, all of our wiring is going to come right up from the bottom, so you're not going to see anything. It's going to be really nice. And I'm going to bring that over to the bike. Now let's give you an update on what I've been doing. I've kind of gone through and made some decisions, not on camera, but decisions on some changes and things. I did not want to go with the old point system. As the more I looked at it, it really just looked terrible. Looked like it was just beyond repair. So I figured, why not upgrade? And at this point, we're going to go an electronic ignition. because if you can, make your life easier so you don't have to kick it repeatedly over and over, why not? So we're going to remove all this. We're going to take out our old point system. We're going to put an electronic ignition. When we did that, though, I also ordered a new coil, so that's why. That's the rebuild carb we did the other day. As you can see, that cleaned up nice. Oh, here's another thing, too. We hooked up the throttle. So we got not a bad little return there. Not quite CV carb, not quite SNS, but we got a pretty decent return there. Goes back and forth. Nice. Action's pretty good. So what I've been doing is removing all the crappy wires. We're going to get a new regulator rectifier too, because this thing honestly looks like it's out of someone's stereo from 1973. So I went ahead and ordered a stock old NOS one I found. I'm going to put that on there instead. I'd rather just feel safe running something new instead of having to rely on something as old as that. So what I did was also I removed the old coil. The old coil sat right here and kind of hung down. Show you how that was. This was inconveniently fabricated in a strange way, and it hung down right there. Hard to remove. Sat there with a cover over it, and I'm going to put the new coil right there with the new electronic ignition, all new wires. It's all going to be set up. So one of the only wires I did actually keep here was the grounding wire right here. This one seems to be anchored pretty nicely. They did a good job with that. That's going to run down into here, right below there. So I sketched out a wiring diagram of what I think I'm going to do with it. As you can see, I'll focus in a little bit on that. This is my handiwork here, my doodles. Motor, stop switch, down to our night light, the tail light, down into the batteries, battery box, back up around a coil, ignition right there, headlight. So 15 amp, 30 amp, pretty simple. You can see I already wired in the headlight. Now I'm using all these old school cloth braided wires because that's probably what, might be a little bit older than what they normally have had, but I figured, you know what, the nice red cloth wire looks good. As you can see, that brass polished up really nice on the headlight. Come around here. Now here's that battery box we talked about right here. I'll show you how that's going to work. Let's see how this is going to drop right in. You can see right here, I also started to wire in redo some of the wires. Here was the original taillight wire, which was really poorly done, so I tried to clean it all up. Now we got our green right here. This is going to go to our 15 amp. Here's our black wire, is going to go right to the negative on the battery. Then here's our red wire. This is going to run all the way forward to our stop switch, and you can see I wired that in. That's as neat as it's going to get on that switch. Not really the best looking switch in the world, but it does work. We checked the continuity across it and it works. This other wire, then we're going to have to wire that one in. That one's going to go back up to the power at that point. But we're going to run everything. We're going to hide it all inside here. These are just temporarily stuck in here with zip ties. We're going to zip tie them in behind the frame, hide all those nice red wires, even though they're beautiful, and some people run them exposed. I'll hide them as much as I can, but if you see them and they're nice red cloth braided wire, that's pretty darn nice. So I'm going to drop the battery box in now just to kind of show you how it's going to look. Goes in straight in here. There we go. And it drops right in. So here, these wires are going to go up inside there. Here's the door. Opens up. And there's all of our circuits. Wires are going to come up through here. Here's our wires going to come up through here. That's for the headlight. It's going to come up from the tail light. But right now what I'm going to start doing is wire some other things in. So you can see there, now they're just sitting below there. These two wires are going to come up through there. This one and that one, that's going to be the negative. This is to the tail light, this green one right here. Okay, that's going to go to the 15 ampere with the headlight right in there. This thing, every time you want to pull out the battery, you're just going to basically, there's one bolt, there's one nut under there and a bolt on the other side. Unscrew it, drop it out, pull it out, hook everything up. Here's that negative I was talking about, coming right from the top. If I look inside there, that's going to go to the battery terminal inside there. So pretty clean as it can be. Now I'm going to wire up the 30 amps, going to go right to here to the positive on the battery. That's what I'm going to do next. So I'm just going to start doing some wiring. now we got like this. Now I can drop my battery in. Come right over the top, right here. Right there, that'll be my positive. There's the 30 amp. I'm gonna run the other ones to the other posts in a minute. All right, so here we are. Here's some wiring I'm just doing. And here's something that you can do. These are going to the ignition. So we got one for, that's B for battery and L for lights. So knowing that the two wires were going back to the same box, just something I wanted to do. Again, it's the cloth braided wire. And what I did is every 4 inches, I just put a little shrink tube on it, and I cut them basically to the same length because I know that these two ends are going to end up back into the circuit breakers. So we got a 15 amp and the 30 amp, and then obviously the battery is going to go to the 30 amp and the 15. The light is going to go to the 15 amp. So they're going to end up right next to each other. So what I did was I pre-cut the length, figured the length out, pre-cut them, shrink them together every 4 inches so they're going to stay nice and tight together when we try to hide them against that frame rail. That way they don't flop around, and it's just an easier way to do it this way than to do it actually on the bike. So just thought show you that, so it'll be nice and neat. I'm going to put it in right now and then we'll show you when it's done. All right. Back here with the 73 Shovelhead. The Survivor Chopper, aka basket case, aka barn find, aka garage find. What I've been doing, I've been working on the wiring here, just trying to run some nice neat wires, and this is all temporary. We're going to tuck that under, put some zip ties on it, make it look really nice. But one thing I wanted to do, this bike originally came with an oil cooler, and I know that was probably stock on an early FX 1200, which I think this one is. We checked the VIN number earlier, and that's what we showed. So he had kind of rigged up this makeshift bracket underneath here with the oil cooler. I'm just going to remove it just to keep things nice and simple. So all I'm going to do is just remove this line. This is the return line. It'll come up through here. You can see it comes right up there and goes to the top of the oil bag. That's the return. Come around here. Pretty self-explanatory. Here's the feed coming off here, and now we just got it dangling down, and the feed's coming right there, right off your oil pump, right in there. This one, I'm touching right there. That one. That's my feed. Okay, here's my feed from the oil bag in. There's the feed back to the oil tank, and it drops down in there. It goes to the oil cooler. That one right there. This is just going to be a. That goes right up to there. That's just a vent. So that's a vent tube. So I'm going to now remove all this, clean all this front of the bike up, because this honestly looks like crap, as you can see. You know, we got the 1973 high fidelity stereo regulator rectifier. And again, I said in the last video, I said I ordered a stock one. I'm going to throw that one on there. I'm going to take this off too. I'm going to take the bracket off here. It's just going to look a lot cleaner and a lot nicer. So that's what I'm about to do. I'm going to put this tray under here because who knows how much oil was left in there. Super simple. I'll just drain it out. I'll clean this line, which is going to be the return line. The oil's going to come in through here, through the oil cooler, back out this way. I'm going to take this line off. Then I'm going to run this line to back the origin of that line. So it completes the circuit. It'll be nice and easy. Oil will return properly. And I'm hoping, fingers crossed, everything works. And there we go. We got that down there for sure. We'll drain all that out. We'll get this one drained too. And there it is, our bright red painted oil cooler with liberal doses of silicone, which you seem to put on everything. I don't know why he was so paranoid about everything leaking, but he seemed to put silicone over everything. So we're just going to let that drip, let that clean out for a little bit. I'm going to start taking that bracket off. And actually, the oil looks very clean. So I think, or at least I'm hoping, that he was in the middle of getting this thing running before he passed. And he had just probably thrown some new oil in there. And that's what we're hoping. We're going to put, obviously, new oil in there, but my hope is that it wasn't sitting around forever, stagnating, you know, getting gummed up and disgusting as it can. one thing I also noticed on this bike, he seemed to tighten everything up to the point of could survive the apocalypse. Nothing wrong with tightening up things, you know, as much as you can, but there's a point where, you know, there's no reason why a bracket needs to be torqued down to 100 foot-pounds. It's just silly. It isn't going anywhere, and sometimes you can run into issues freeing up bolts, breaking things. I always think you should torque things to the correct amount. Call me crazy, but you know, don't over torque your nuts, boys. Again, I'm keeping all this old hardware just in case I need to mount something. I'd like to use all the original hardware that I could, just because I think it'll just look a lot better. Nothing worse than having an old bike with a shiny silver Home Depot bolt sticking out on the side of it. It just really sticks out like a sore thumb. It just looks kind of stupid, but yeah, maybe that's my opinion. You know, everything down to every nut and bolt should be correct, or at least as close as possible. Why does the bracket need to be torqued down that much? And we'll never know. Yeah, he also put red Loctite on this. Now, I'm a big believer in Loctite. I'll put red Loctite on things that should never move. But why would an oil cooler bracket need to have red Loctite? I don't know. I mean, if he was here, I'd ask him. But I mean, coated it with red Loctite, and then on top of it, a lock washer, and then on top of it, a nylock. So apparently, this thing was like, you know, super important to him. Didn't want it ever to move. So, I mean, talk about a triple whammy. Red Loctite. Tighten your bolts too much. Lock washers and nylocks, all on one. I mean, it's like a trifecta. Alrighty, this thing in front of the bike is looking a lot cleaner. Look at that. Why not, right? That looks so much better than that shit hanging down. Clean this up too, and I'm gonna get this off because that is an eyesore, and again, I don't even know the functionality of it either, to be honest. I don't trust it, so I'm gonna take that off, unplug it. We got a new one coming, an NOS one, original in the box. So here's our regulator rectifier. If you can see that end right there, that's that style. It's like 4 little prongs. There's different styles. This old Shovelhead had that style. So luckily I ordered the correct one, or else I think I did, because I remembered that they're a little different than the newer bikes. So I ordered that style, so that should be able to plug right in. He put liberal amounts of silicone around it, which in that case I really don't mind, that's fine. But we're gonna get this whole thing off in one unit. Again, overkill on that one. I can smell the Loctite, red Loctite, lock washers, and nylocks. You don't need all 3. You do not need all 3 on a bracket. There's no reason. And then this little tiny Allen, I mean, it's just a recipe for disaster for anyone who wants to take it apart. And here's the deal. You think your bike's gonna go together one time and one and done. It's not. You're gonna take it apart 10 times before you're done with it, especially on a custom. And what if you have to service this part? Like I'm about to put a new one on here. What if you have to do that? And then you're sitting there stuck cutting a bolt, which is impossible to get to. Just be smart when you're building a bike. Remember, the people have to service them at some point, you or someone else. You know, that's why when I build a custom bike, I make everything easy to get to. Okay, if I don't, I'll change it. I'll modify the design to make it easy to get to. Literally, so it just should come right apart. I think that's the sign of a good design. Look at this. I gotta get to that. Double, triple bolts he puts on this thing. Jesus, he's killing me. You're killing me today, Ed. You're killing me. I love you, brother, but you're killing me today. Let's see if we can get this one loose and break this guy free from here. I love you, Ed, but man, this was a tough one today. And it sounds so crazy, right? You'll come out here, sometimes we'll literally build a motor in 3 hours, and then sometimes we'll spend 3 hours working on one bolt. And if you work on Harleys, you'll know what I'm talking about. We've had it out here 3-4 hours on one bolt. And then I've had it where I've rebuilt the entire motor in 3 hours. So I can't stress enough to do things right from the start. So that was my email. I'm gonna give you my Craigslist lecture here for 2 seconds. Anyone deal, another one, see? Here we go. See? So here's the thing about Craigslist. I love Craigslist. I'll buy and sell stuff on Craigslist all the time. But I don't really want to exchange 13 emails about a set of handlebars I put on Craigslist because I'm not using them. If you want them, come get them. Just come buy it. Don't email me 7 times about what you want to do with it. Or I mean, it's, you know, as much as I appreciate it, it's like just be serious about stuff and come buy it. That's the way I do it with people on Craigslist. I don't waste people's time. If you're gonna buy something, just buy it. Come over. Don't flake out. I'm tired of flaky people on Craigslist. I love it. It's a great place. Oh my God. You know? If I see something listed on Craigslist, I'll email you. Hey, I want to come over. Can I come over today? Here you go. How much? There it is. Done. People, please. You know what? I don't need to hear that you used to own the bike. I don't need to hear that you had something like it. I don't need to hear it. I mean, I love you. I'll be your friend, but I really just got a lot of things going on right now in my life. I know I shouldn't say that stuff, but it's true. If anyone deals on Craigslist, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Or the guy who just emails you and says, is it available? That's the worst one ever. Is it available? Why even respond to that? No, it's not. I just keep it up there so I can get your emails. That's why I do it. No, it's fucking available. If it's not available, I'll take it off. I had that guy email me 3-4 times about something. And then he emails me back a week later. Hey, do you still have it? No, it's down because I sold it. Oh, wow, really? I shouldn't have waited. No, you shouldn't have waited. You should have bought it when you emailed me the first 4 times about it. That's when it was for sale. That's better than dropping your tool in the oil. Everyone's done that. Heat it. Again, red Loctite. Way too tight. On a bolt that's never going anywhere. For no possible reason. Just to overkill. So you got to spend 15 minutes on one nut right here. Because he decided to just red Loctite the crap out of it. You don't need red Loctite on this bracket, guys. You don't. Blue, sure. You don't need red. Two for two. Okay. So, not only was it bolted down red Loctite, but he siliconed the whole thing to the plate, which I don't really understand why. Maybe he had an experience in the past where it loosened up and somehow the silicone saved it. I don't know. There we go. Beautiful. Oh, it was just a Loctite. Sorry, Ed, you didn't silicone it. Take that back. But that was a good one. That thing fought me for 15 or 20 minutes, you could say, for no reason. I'm going to put that with the oil cooler that I'm not going to use. But if you can see, look at that right there. Much cleaner. That's the way the front of a Shovelhead motor should look. Take all this off here. That's right where our regulator rectifier is going to go. Luckily, he has a stock bracket, nice and clean. Got our little skid plate under there. I'm going to hook those oil lines up in a minute or two. But look at that. That's going to be much better.